What's up, everyone? This love triangle just became a love square. The ship wars are on and popping, and so are the pills on the Stumptown after show on AfterBuzz TV.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Woohoo! We are back, everyone, for the Stumptown after show on AfterBuzz TV. We are back. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Ollie, Drennan. I'm joined by none other than LaToya Blakely in the house. How you doing, girl?
I'm good, and I'm happy to be back.
You know, I'm happy to be back with you. I missed you. I haven't seen you since over the previous holiday, which was, Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving, whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate it or not. I'm just happy. We are down a member, Shay Jones. I don't know where she is. She might be at a bar chilling with Dex somewhere. But I apologize. We were off air last week just because I was sick. LaToya couldn't make it. Shay had other plans. I think it was work related. So we were just not recovered fully yet from the holiday. But I hope you guys had a safe and fun holiday, whatever you guys were. Just safe and happy holidays all the time because we have another one coming up, right, girl? Whew. So anyways, how are you feeling? You know, like after these couple weeks that we were gone and just... We're covering 2 episodes tonight, so we have a lot to talk about. Mainly, we'll talk about this week's episode just because it was so much more relevant. So your initial thoughts on Just Went Down tonight with Dex, catching up with the crew, and, of course, Hoffman and Gray.
So usually after every episode, I'm like, what? And so, I felt that way again tonight. Like, Gray is a busy woman. How she has time for this professional life and this personal life, I do not know. But it was definitely an entertaining episode with a lot that happened.
I didn't know who to believe. I still have questions that aren't fully answered. I think what's great about this show is that it really does leave future storylines open for possibilities. Definitely. And kind of like gets you wondering and starts to get you theorizing, okay, what really went down with these characters? What happened to so-and-so? And so that's what I'm really enjoying. It's kind of like, stay tuned, we're planting the seeds, but come back in 5 episodes and we'll answer those seeds, or the seeds will be fully blossomed, whatever, what have you. So for first topic, let's go ahead and kind of just talk about last week's episode real quick. I'm sorry again that we were not here, guys. Life happens. But we saw kind of Dex team up with Sue Lin, and that's a very unlikely pair for sure. And we met Benny's wife. Benny was, Dex's ex-lover, and her name's Naomi. And obviously Naomi and Dex, they didn't have a good relationship, but it was really interesting in seeing this unlikely duo kind of work in tandem. But something that really struck me in this episode was kind of like Dex not only dealing with her grief, but her guilt and how she feels guilty about the death of her ex-lover, Benny. But also, I want to know your opinion on this whole thing about Lieutenant Cosgrove and Sue Lin. These are the women. These women, okay, basically run Portland. Okay, so what are your thoughts? Do you think, what's your thoughts on their history together?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but what we have found out is that Portland seems to be a small town and everyone knows everyone. I guess that they're close in age, so it could be anything from they went to high school together to maybe one person dated the other person's boyfriend. Like, there's so much drama in this show and so much history between these characters. Right. Or maybe they even have worked together because Sue Lin is extremely, powerful in what she does. And then, obviously, Lieutenant Cosgrove is, too. And maybe there's even been trouble. Sue Lin got in trouble and Lieutenant Cosgrove had something to do with it.
Something.
Right?
I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to see these 2 powerful women duke it out and kind of shade each other. But I really want to know more to the story. Hopefully maybe we'll get kind of a flashback or something. See younger actors portray them back in 30 years ago.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That'd be even if it's just a little something, just to kind of I want to know the story, because that's definitely a seed, as I mentioned, that we need to explore as, we get down into more future episodes of Stumptown. But also, in this episode, Liz and Ansel have been getting kind of closer, because I think Ansel hasn't been really interacting with his sister, Dex, but he's been getting closer to Liz. And that actually kind of made Dex a little jealous, maybe a little threatened. And the episode's called The Other Woman. So I think this kind of also played not only with kind of Naomi and Dex's relationship with their former lover, Benny, but also kind of Liz being the other woman in kind of Gray's life and even in Dex's life, because she is this other woman who's coming in all of a sudden and wreaking havoc. So this leads to Dex proposing a proposition to our girl Liz, and this eventually leads into episode 9. So what are your thoughts kind of on Dex inviting Liz to go out for a drink and get to know each other?
Well, maybe she didn't have a choice, right? So, like, Liz is now the girlfriend of one of Dex's very best and closest friends. There's been a little strife between them and a little, I don't know if animosity is the right word, but there's definitely some level of opposite sides of the fence.
A little bit of tension.
Right. And so she invites her out with the goal of probably getting to know her better and kind of smoothing things over and saying that we can be on the same team.
Definitely smoothing some things over, right, LaToya? Well, before we get into it, I just want to shout out you guys. If you guys tuning in live, that's awesome. We have a live chat. Keep chatting with us. We really appreciate it, you guys week after week, making us the ESPN of TV talk. It means so much to us. We love talking about Dex and Gray and Ansel and even Liz. You know, we are interested in where your character's going, Liz, especially with Dex. But you guys can do a big favor for us. Subscribe to our multiple channels. Comment down below. Slide into our DMs even. We love talking about Stumptown. And also, we would love you forever if you give us that 5-star review on iTunes. But until then, thank you again for letting us be the ESPN of TV talk and listening to us or watching to us on YouTube. So until then, LaToya, we got to talk about this whole big thing that led into the next episode. In this episode 9, Dex Education, we pick up where we left off last week of Dex waking up in the bed with homegirl Liz. Okay. And even Ansel, he knows that he has an idea that they had this sleepover. So something that really struck me in this episode was last week, I forgot to mention this, but Dex wanted Hoffman to kind of find out some dirt on Liz. And so he actually ran her name, and that's against the law for doing that because, Hoffman kind of felt a little betrayed because it made it seem that Liz was kind of like a criminal, but really Liz, as we know, isn't a criminal. So that kind of led things off in this episode kind of awkward between those two characters because this whole time Hoffman thinks that Dex is kind of using him. So did you get any vibes from that in this episode of kind of like how Hoffman felt kind of mistreated by Dex?
In episode 9?
Yes.
Yeah, but not because of that.
Because he found out about them sleeping together.
Yeah, or thought that they slept together.
So speaking of that, what do you think about this whole, I said love triangle, but now it's kind of like this love square that's going on between Dex, Liz, who am I missing? Gray and Hoffman.
That's a lot, right? Like
yes.
It's a whole lot. And so much happened in this episode in terms of relationships that I had questions. I'm like, where do I even start? So I'm just going to start with the opening of the scene, and they wake up in the bed together, and Liz is naked and Dex is not. I do have to say that for me, that was a red flag because not to give away too much personal information.
Well, yes, definitely.
But usually more than one person's naked if anyone's naked. And so that just seemed a little odd to me.
It's hard to believe because sometimes television kind of paints this picture of like, oh, you have sex with your clothes on. And it's like, I know it's television, you can't show everything, but still it's like leaves us knowing or having previous experience. It's questionable
From
for
books
sure.
that I read.
Yes, books, absolutely. No, but it definitely kind of left that impression of like, well, what really did happen? And I really enjoyed that because the episode kind of left us a little stumped. Okay, did they sleep? I kept asking you, like, okay, LaToya, when we were watching the episode, do you think they slept with each other?
For sure.
What do you think? And so I really did enjoy that. I think the episode kind of always gets you on the edge of your seat, even the littlest things such as this, which I guess maybe isn't the littlest thing. But clearly this whole situation bled into other relationships. And I love the conversation that Gray, I thought it was a little harsh, but Gray kind of confronting Dex about how, Dex, you've been through so much with your parents. Benny, and it's causing you look for chaos basically. This is how you cope. You drink, you steal my girlfriend. But it was so interesting how he went after Dex immediately and didn't like give Liz any shit, until later on. But what did you think about him automatically going for Dex's throat?
Well, what it told me was that not that he cares more about Dex, but he expects more from Dex because they have that relationship, that friendship, the years. And so while I'm sure he felt some kind of way about Liz too, like he felt worse about Dex and just felt like that she owed him better and owed herself better. He was harsh. He was super harsh. But sometimes the truth is ugly. And if that was his truth, then I think it was fair of him to say and do.
And when he did that, Hoffman totally got the whole picture. That's when he found out about everything.
Right. Well, that was kind of unnecessary. He didn't have to blast her out in front of Hoffman.
And then, of course, any of the other people at the bar, when they were chilling and basically airing her dirty laundry, okay? And I'm like, damn, out in the middle. I hope Ansel's not around here with this.
I know.
Even though Ansel probably already knows what happened.
Right.
Lives in the same house. But what were your thoughts on Hoffman and kind of his thirsty partner? She's a baddie for sure, but she seems like she's really interested in Hoffman. She's kind of like telling him certain things. She's giving him looks. Are you catching this?
I'm not catching that. But before we move to that, can I just go back to Dex for 1 second? Dex and Gray. So basically, we've seen this theme of like her self-sabotaging, and that really strikes a chord with me, just because I feel like that's maybe something that I do. Right. And I just think that's an interesting theme that the show has been exploring. And I'm interested to see if she's now going to deal with her demons in her past and like correct that, or if that's going to be something that we continue to see her kind of self-sabotaging.
No, I actually really love that you bring that up because I love that in characters. Just because I could totally relate to that as well, because I think people do that. Speaking for myself, I see characters on media do that. They kind of self-sabotage themselves or hurt themselves. Reckless behavior before someone else can do it.
Exactly.
And so I find that really relatable, and it almost doesn't hurt as much when you hurt yourself but when someone else hurts you, whether it's emotional, mentally, physical, like it stings and it leaves scars, whether they're physical or mental or emotional.
Yeah.
So it was really beautiful that you brought that up. I'm going to start crying, girl. I'm supposed to laugh out here at Stumptown after show. But any more thoughts before we move on to Hoffman?
No. So going back to Hoffman and
his partner,
partner.
Did you catch her name? I'm not catching her name.
I didn't catch her name either.
They need to tell us her name. Anyone tuning in, let us know the girl's name. She's a really interesting character.
She
Keeping
is.
my eye on her.
But I actually did not think that she had interest in Hoffman. To me, she just seemed like a really good friend and was like really in tune with what was happening and his actual feelings. Definitely. And gave good advice.
I'm just keep seeing shots of her. She's just looking. She's looking over at Hoffman, and she's looking at when Dex comes in. You see her all of a sudden creeping. She's lurking or something, but she does give good advice. Yeah. But also, I feel like she's also giving him the eyes, the flirty eyes a little bit, because you have to give him. You got to give Hoffman those eyes sometimes.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. He is quite attractive, so I can understand.
yes. But any more thoughts on Liz? Because I'm just gonna get to it before we move on to kind of like the case, because we're on the topic of Liz. So, come to find out, the relationship with Sue Lynn and Dex is kind of getting better, and so they're kind of working more in tandem together. And Dex goes to Sue Lynn to kind of get video footage of them at the casino together when they went out. Come to find out, Liz is the one. I keep wanting to say Liv. Liz is the one who's giving Dex her drinks. And so basically Liz isn't drunk this whole time. It's Dex. So sober Liz and drunk Dex this entire time. So it kind of paints the picture that they didn't hook up. And Liz set this whole thing up. And I'm thinking, okay, I can kind of see this because Liz was introduced coming into the bar as a liar. So what are your thoughts on this whole betrayal to everyone?
Liz is just a piece of work, She came in, she just blew into town, basically, and has kind of like manipulated the situation from the beginning to get what she wanted. And the idea that she would do that, right? Because that's what she did. She stayed sober. She got Dex drunk and then
took her top off, like went back to her place,
set up the whole situation,
which was crazy,
right? So that she could go to Gray and sell him this story.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're willing to do that to someone,
go this far, screw up a relationship,
and then play the victim when it all came out.
Exactly. And I was kind of so confused. I at first thought they really did hook up, because the way that the shots were kind of panning to Liz at some point. So we kept seeing her kind of feel so guilty or look so sad. So I'm thinking, okay, they must have hooked up or something. She really did cross the line. So, but come to find out they didn't. They didn't. And this whole thing was a huge mastermind. And I'm sitting here watching this with you. How I'm thinking, Liz, how do you think that this was going to play out perfectly in your favor? Because it's not.
And then if Gray didn't care about her, which is what she's screaming, you never cared about me, you can't care about any woman, why would you go through all that trouble? Versus just saying that this is a man who's emotionally unavailable, so let me move on.
Yeah, and my thing is, like, if you're selling the story of that you hooked up with her, why do you think that he would want to stay with you too? Even though he kind of did seem like he did, you know?
Right. Well, she played the victim, and she played into that. What did she say? Like, it was all about being on the Dex train.
Yeah.
So she played to Dex's weakness and kind of to Gray's weakness too. She was very manipulative in that situation.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of like Dex isn't the most perfect character as well. So, and in a way, Dex does need a wake up call. And I love the conversation between Dex and Sulin about kind of making your own bed. And she was literally, by the end of the episode, making her own bed. Did you see that? Remember that? I was like, okay,
Let's talk about how long
it
took her to get that bed together. And I was like, it's not that hard to make a bed. But then when she was like using her arm for the crease, I was like, okay, ex-Marine has to be perfect. I get it.
No, literally, I hate making the bed sometimes after you wash the sheets, because I can never figure out the sheet, how it,
like fitted one?
Yeah, which side goes on. So that I'm kind of like, I'm not OCD like Dex, but I can't, sometimes I can't put the fitted sheet on.
That's
LaToya.
funny.
Don't judge me.
I'm not judging.
Any more thoughts on kind of like this crazy, ridiculous, hot mess of a situation? Kind of anything I'm missing that you thought of with this whole? It was a lot to process.
It was a lot to process. I just to recap it, Liz went above and beyond like what was necessary.
Yeah. She got kicked out.
It goes back to Dex's resourcefulness and the fact that she thought something was a little fishy and like went back and got the footage to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
And Hoffman, his feelings were obviously very, very hurt by this situation.
That was, oh my God. The montage of her making the bed, and then I forgot to mention this, but Hoffman goes over to her place to talk. Maybe even more. Maybe that's predictions. But then we kept seeing shots of Gray driving. And so clearly we're thinking, okay, he's going over to her house. And he did end up going to her house. However, he stayed in his car watching Hoffman go into Dex's house.
Right.
So he's thinking, okay, they're back together, when really, okay, what did you think of that? I thought that he kind of wanted to go have sex or something.
Well,
in the bed that she just made.
Well, we saw that he called her before he went over there. And so I'm assuming that what Liz said to him kind of really struck a chord, and like that's what he wanted to address. But then when Hoffman was on the way to Dex's house, and then we see Gray in his truck, I thought that he was probably going to Dex's, but I also thought that it could have been possible that he was going to Liz.
Oh, no.
Right? And saying like, that's not true. I do care about you. What you did was not okay, but like we'll figure this out. But when we see him at Dex's house, I'm kind of hoping he gets out of that truck.
And does what?
Just knock on the door and say, we need to talk.
We need a 3-way talk?
No, sorry, Hoffman. You need to leave. I need to talk to Dex. But we can't forget what she's dealing with Ansel and his big announcement. So she has a lot happening right now.
What? Are you kidding me? He can't properly support himself. Like, what? Ansel wants to move out. He wants to get a credit card. Where is this coming from? Is this from Liz? Okay, we're getting into predictions territory. But any more thoughts? Because that was really shocking that he wanted to move out all of a sudden. It said he wants a credit card too.
Yeah.
So, and this literally came out of the blue because we kept seeing little snippets of him, but not a full arc from him. So that's why I was like, what? Excuse me? Ansel, no, go to your room. Any more thoughts, or do you got some predictions about that?
Well, I just think it may be a combination of things. Like maybe he's also not agreeing with like Dex's behavior, and so he just kind of wants to get away from that. But also, I mean, he's an adult, and he probably just really wants his own space and to like live his own life for a while.
And he's a fully functioning adult at the end of the day. It's just the fact that he's never lived by himself. He's 21. He has a job at the bar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just kind of out of the blue. At least there's no taxes in Oregon, so he doesn't have to deal with, like, California taxes like us. Any more thoughts? Because we can talk about the case now.
Let's talk about the case.
Messy case. Oh, my gosh. Whenever you get minors involved. Okay, so basically, I think this case is really important because Dex also kind of confronts her past again, and she confronts one of her old high school arch enemies a little bit. Perfect Penny. It's a perfect Penny. It's so funny. I love this storyline because it kind of, I think we all can kind of relate to the fact of kind of having these characters, growing up with these characters that weren't really huge in your life, yet these small characters, whether it was a bully or some popular girl or whatever, the small characters in your life, but yet they leave lasting impressions with you. So I think that's something that Perfect Penny did. You know, I think even Perfect Penny kind of had a lasting impression from Dex. Like she talked about how, oh, Dex, like I partied and did beer pong because I thought you were so kind of, you were kind of like a rebel. And whereas Dex was viewing Penny as this perfect girl who I kind of want to not assimilate, but I kind of want to be better. So what did you think about this whole dynamic and them working together? Because Perfect Penny went to Dex to get her daughter out of hot water.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting how we got to learn about them as teenagers, and then what was it, the end of the line that Penny said, the end of the episode, where she was like, it's good that we've both grown up after seeing all of the turmoil that Dex had that episode. So it was kind of a nice look at like a few things, right? There were a few themes, but one of the biggest themes, too, actually, what you said, people can really impact our lives.
Right.
And they don't have to be a huge presence in our life to have a big impact on our life.
Yeah. So
I think we saw that, but then we also saw how you can be one way at one stage in your life and then grow into something else.
Yeah, and sometimes that's very true. And sometimes you see people and you don't really know the full story. Because Penny said that, Perfect Penny, and yet she doesn't really know that Dex kind of hasn't grown up. She has with her job. Dex is an amazing PI. However, she has a lot of demons she's struggling with. She's struggling with the PTSD. She's struggling with, the guilt from Benny's death and kind of like all these. She's struggling with Gray now and kind of like this relationship with Hoffman. So it's funny how we kind of grow up in some aspects, but not fully. And it's kind of like just social media in a way. You see people, but you don't fully see the full story. It's kind of just the cover, but not the full pages and chapters.
And I think we also saw that no one's perfect. In the beginning when Perfect Penny is introduced, it's her and her husband and her child, and then later we see this nice house, but then we find out she's going through a divorce.
Right.
So like you said, things aren't always as they seem, and taking it a step further, like no one's perfect.
And they aren't what they seem, because that school it's like a privilege. I think it was an all-girl school. Was it all all girls? Well, I don't think
I saw any guys now that you say that.
And these girls were just really under all this pressure about being, marketable for college, and you do all these extracurricular activities and be on sports. You want to stand out, when you're being scouted and whatnot. So that was a lot of pressure that a lot of these girls were probably going with, even though they're total brats. Seeing this episode, Dex kind of go in as a substitute teacher, it was hilarious because we saw all these kids in their phones, not listening to Dex, not taking any of her Dex-ness at all. So I was like, oh man, LaToya, I hate kids. I hate kids growing up today with social media and being ungrateful. But anyways, we come to find out that the coach was the one who's kind of supplying all these girls with Adderall. And she's thinking she's doing this for a good reason, to kind of like give them the energy for all of this and kind of like panhandling and whatnot. So what did you think about this? Because it was a very kind of straightforward.
Yeah. Well, I will say I didn't expect the coach to be involved. Like, I didn't see that coming.
And she seemed put together. It was kind of like all that's not there.
Right. And I think she was like 3rd generation or 5th generation in this school. But I also felt like we didn't really get the whole story. Like, that was a lot of Adderall to only be supplying it to like girls in school. So I also wondered if she was selling it or if there was like some financial reason for her doing it.
I was expecting a little bit more, but I think it's also kind of like, this case, usually I feel like the case is such a huge part of the episode.
For sure.
And it kind of wasn't. I mean, I loved kind of like the dynamic with Penny and Dex, exploring your past and whatnot. However, it was mostly about the whole love square.
The love square.
Any more thoughts? I love the chase scene with Hoffman and his partner tracking down MJ. That was so cool because we're so used to seeing Dex kind of take the reins of the case, but it was really Hoffman and his partner who kind of stole the show in this episode with that. So that was cool. I was like, yes, Hoffman and partner. I still don't know her name.
I did wonder if, for the casting of MJ's character, if like being physically fit or athletic was a part of the description, because she like hauled butt.
She was relentless. She ran. You need to like run track background, volleyball, because she was a volleyball coach, right?
Yes.
It was so funny.
And am I the only one that thought she kind of looked like the widow of Hoffman's CI?
Hoffman CI? Who?
Remember? So like Hoffman's CI who died in earlier episodes, his wife that came into the station because she had like a parking ticket or something like that. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. I don't know why I can't. I remember her, but I do not remember her face.
Okay. Well, they kind of looked alike to me. Like a lot alike.
Oh my God. That would have been even more of a mess. Can you imagine Hoffman like taking her down? Oh my gosh. That would have made things more interesting. That's for sure. Any more thoughts? I feel like we covered it for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it was a full episode, but I think we did. We got Liz, Dex is kind of reckoning and, time to change your life.
Yeah.
Ansel wants to move out.
We did a good job of covering this episode.
We were very efficient.
Well, why don't we just get to our special segment of the week? Ouch. That hurt Vito in the booth. So our special segment, you already know what this is, LaToya. But if you aren't familiar with our special segment, it's called You Got Stumped. And in this special segment, we basically ask ourselves and tell the audience what stumped us most in these two episodes. Don't forget episode 8 and episode 9. But what did you think, LaToya? Do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Oh, here we go. Well, I gotta say, in episode 9, tonight's episode, when Ansel, out of the blue, was like, I want to move out. I get it. He's an adult, 21, but really, Ansel, I don't think he knows what it's like to pay bills and pay rent. It is no joke. And things come up. Ansel. You don't understand. If I were you, Ansel, I would stay living with Dex. But I think it stumped me most because I just don't know where it's going. I think it's leading into more predictions territory, but I'm wondering if the influence of having a character like Liz, keep wanting to say Liz influence, what's his face? Ansel. I wonder if she told him certain things that we're not seeing,
That's interesting.
Because we still don't know the full story about Liz. And I think there is something that we're not fully. Yeah. But that was definitely something. I just don't know where they're going with Ansel's character moving forward. So I was stumped by that for sure.
Definitely. I agree with that. But also, and I kind of said this before, MJ supplying the pills, and even going a step further, her telling them to frame that other girl because the girl, Perfect Penny's daughter, was causing trouble. Like, that stumped me. I did not see that coming.
What did you think was going to happen? Did you have another thought in your head? Because I literally didn't really know who was, I didn't know where it was going.
Yeah. I don't think I really thought about it, but I just probably assumed it was another student.
Yeah, because you just kind of saw, like, Dex meet MJ for the first time and everything seemed picture perfect and whatnot. And, of course, you kind of had this idea that, at least for me, I thought it was another student who was who was like the mastermind, but it really wasn't. It was an adult. And so we were both stumped in this episode for sure. But you guys got to let us know your stumped moments. Whether it's in the DMs, tweet us, comment down below. We want to know your stumped moments, guys. So we have another special segment, right, LaToya?
We do.
Well, it's kind of, this might be our last show of the year, unfortunately. But more on that, LaToya, which she'll tell you later. But we want to know from these episodes from episodes 1 through 9, what is your favorite character? LaToya, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Well, I have to just give it to Dex Parios. She's my favorite character. and I'm not biased because I'm a Kobe Smulders super fan, okay? And she's just phenomenal in everything she does, whether it's in the MCU or on ABC. It's just a character that I think is so relatable. I touched on it earlier about how she's this self-sabotaging, badass, independent woman who takes no crap from no one, but really does have a heart of gold despite all her flaws. And I just love that character. Very reminiscent of Jessica Jones. I don't know if you ever watched Jessica Jones on Netflix. I think you would love it.
Okay.
You're all into law. You are an attorney, right, LaToya?
I am.
You would love Jessica Jones. This is like breaking news. You would love it.
Okay.
Please watch if you ever have time.
Okay.
No pressure. But I think you would love it because it deals with everything. PI. Oh my gosh. PI, the law, attorney. Girl.
Watch it. Got it.
But definitely is a character that I think is so relatable. And I think that's why the show is getting great reviews, because it has an amazing cast. Kobe Smulders is just killing this character, and I'm here for it. I'm ready for these future episodes next year.
Yeah. Just throwing this out there, you were talking about other shows that Kobe Smulders can be found in. Room 104, which is on HBO. She's in that. So if you're a fan, check it out.
I've never seen it. Oh my gosh. I have to. What the heck? I'm a fan of hers. It's because I don't have HBO because I'm poor.
I understand. And there's just so many channels to have these days, right? And streaming services. You got to say no to something at some point.
See, Ansel, you do not want to move out. Just saying. But who is your favorite character?
There's so many.
So far.
There have been so many good characters, and that's one thing about the show. I feel like every episode we're introduced to someone new. But I really like Tukey.
Yes.
Because he's just so enthused with everything he does, and he does it from like a place of intention and like being the best that he can be. And he's just a great character with comic relief and like a level of seriousness at the same time.
I want to know more from him too, because there's so much more to him. And he was kind of another character that he had a little moment with Ansel actually in this episode, didn't he?
I think it was a preview for the next episode.
Girl. Silly me, my bad. I'm getting ahead of myself. But definitely, I love him. Adrian Martinez, he needs to come back in the studio. I was so sad you weren't here.
Me too.
But he's amazing. I love that he's your favorite so far, and we're like so looking forward for the future of Tukey for sure. But LaToya, I have to ask this: do you have a least favorite character?
I mean, least favorite.
You can still like them, but just a character that you're just not necessarily fully behind yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Liz.
Oh.
Monica Barbaro, I hope I said that right, does a wonderful job portraying that character, and that's probably why I dislike her so much, because she did such a good job. But Liz, she's just a little too manipulative. Like, it's not okay to threaten someone's relationship, because you're threatened. So I'm gonna have to say no to Liz.
Oh my goodness, I don't want to say this. I would say Liz, but you said it. And also, I'm wondering, maybe I want to know more from her.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be.
Reason?
Yeah, there has to be more to her and where she came from. Like, she came out of the blue, literally. But enough about Blue. Gray. I have to say Gray is my least favorite character. Dun, dun, dun.
How is that possible?
I'm all waiting for that. It's hard because I think all these characters are great. I had to pick one, and he was my least favorite. I'm sorry, LaToya. Because I know he's a great older brother figure to Ansel. However, I was upset with kind of just how everything turned out, with him not questioning Liz until he found the footage. And I know he probably meant the best for Dex and kicking her out, but I don't know. I feel like it was jumping the gun, a little bit.
Okay.
Jumping just because Dex is, known to be reckless. Why didn't he come after Liz so much? Was he just kind of like pussy whipped? Can I say that?
Well, also, I think that they had both been dishonest, right? Like, neither of them were honest about spending the night together. Ansel's the one that dropped that bomb, and Liz was the first person he talked to, so he got her version first.
Yes, I guess. But it's like there's always two sides to two sides of the story.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was really tough to pick my character that I just didn't like. I can't say Cosgrove. She's too much. She's too much of a boss.
Yeah.
I can't say Hoffman because he took down our homegirl coach MJ. I can't say Ansel because he's about to get his own apartment.
Ansel's just great all the way around.
And I'm not gonna say my girl Dex, hello, and Tukey, no. So I had to pick Gray. I just like, oh, I'm sorry, Gray. I want more redeeming moments, I guess.
Okay.
I guess because I feel like I've seen everyone in kind of like shining moments. I haven't seen a whole lot of shining moments from Gray yet, like true shining moments.
I just disagree, Gray. I think you're great and you're doing a good job and you have a lot that you're dealing with, and these two women in your life were very disappointing. I support you.
I still love you, Jake Johnson. I still love you so much. You're amazing. But you guys got to let us know your favorite characters so far of this season. We still got more episodes. And also let us know your least favorite character. Not like a character you hate, but just character you want to know more of and fully haven't grasped the concept of their characters and their arcs and whatnot. But LaToya, I kind of mentioned this before. You have some news to drop about us. It's very important.
I do have some news.
Yes, because this is huge.
This is huge. So tonight is December 11th.
Yes.
And it is the mid-season finale of Stumptown, and it will be coming back to your TV on January 8th. So enjoy your break, get caught up on some other shows, but make sure you are tuned in on January 8th.
Yes, I'm so happy. That's such a not like a long break. It's like just the amount, like a good amount to like kind of just take a break from Stumptown, because it's nice to have shows kind of for like the majority of the year, like 6 months out of the year. You know what I'm saying?
And then take a little break,
and not to have it all at once. You know, this is why binge culture can kind of ruin everything, because then you have to wait 2 years for the next season.
That is true.
So I actually really enjoy that, and you know, to me, cable's not dead. Cable's still alive. I love going on the adventure week after week with you guys and all these amazing characters on Stumptown. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but we still got more episodes. So I'm wondering, I don't know if they dropped, so we got 9 episodes so far.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get 9 more. Does that mean we get officially 9 more, you think?
I'm not sure.
Because since it is mid-season, I would assume that it's 9. They didn't give us the full details.
Yeah.
But that's something to be interesting.
And that would take us until what? March?
Probably. Kind of like definitely spring for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We will be back for next year and for a couple more episodes for Stumptown. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
So thank you, LaToya.
Thank you.
But
so just so you guys know, there will be a total of 22 episodes.
22
episodes.
episodes.
Thank you so much, Vito, in the booth for that. You're an amazing producer. 22
Definitely
episodes? So. What? We didn't even get...
That's crazy.
That is very crazy. You heard it here, guys. 22 episodes. So that's not even the mid.
It's not the mid, but as an actor, I would love to be a series regular on a series in 22 episodes.
Oh my God. Well, congratulations, everyone on Stumptown. The
Right?
show's definitely a hit for having 22 episodes ahead. Oh my gosh. All right, so we got to get to predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So we have less than a month. We have less than a month until this season comes back,
Yes.
right? So
That's like 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay, plenty of time to catch up on other shows. Like you said,
Yes.
there's so much out there right now. So what do you kind of got the feeling of what's going to go down for the remainder of this season with our characters?
Okay, right?
There's so much that can happen.
Right. And so we had a very interesting ending with Ansel dropping his bomb about moving out. Hoffman has showed up and he's just about to go inside as Gray is watching from outside. So like I said, I hope that Gray goes inside. Prediction. I mean, I think that Dex and Hoffman will continue to develop their relationship. Is my actual prediction, but my hope is that Dex and Gray have a steamy reunion.
Oh my God.
That would be great. And I think that Dex and Sulin, I think their relationship will continue to improve.
Yeah, it's really cool but the only downside, I want that to happen for sure, but I feel like the only downside which sucks that I feel from Dex is that whenever she's around Sulin, there is always that guilt of, kind of the guilt of having Benny's death over her and she feeling responsible for that. And I want to know the full story on why she feels responsible. And I feel so many like Naomi in episode 8, she thought that she was the one who was responsible, but because she kicked him out and that's what led him to the army. But really there's something that they're not telling us, that Dex feels fully responsible about the death of Benny. overseas, I believe. So I don't really know. Like, I don't think she killed him by any means. Yeah. But there's definitely something that she feels that she was the cause of his death, that somehow, accidentally probably. But I actually think Ansel will move out. Like, I think they're dead serious about that storyline. But probably not that far away from Dex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think that's going to be scary because I feel like we've had so much air to breathe, because where is these characters that are after Gray? You know, Gray's still not out of the hot seat. These characters are coming after him, and I think Ansel might be targeted. You know, he's going to be not living with Dex anymore, and so they might go after Ansel as like ransom or something, you know, because he is very vulnerable. He doesn't know the full story of everything that's happening yet. At least, like, he doesn't. He really doesn't. Gray has yet to tell him, and maybe he should for his safety.
Yeah.
You know? But I don't know. I would like to also predict that Liz is going to come back.
Yes.
In some shape or form.
Yes.
Because I don't think that story is fully finished. It kind of was dropped abruptly. Any more predictions or any more thoughts?
I do have one thought. One thing we didn't talk about. So when Gray is talking to Liz comes in there and she says, what are you thinking? And he says, I'm thinking how much I miss stealing cars. Like, that was something, right? So sometimes I think that, like, criminal lifestyles are a bit of an addiction. I think that people do the things because they like the lifestyle. And so for him to make that statement, it is almost like an addiction. It's like he's missing that high or missing whatever that made him feel. But in the preview for the upcoming episodes, we see that he goes undercover for Hoffman.
Which is kind of like he's going to be able to do those things, though, with Hoffman.
But, like, legally.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting.
Oh, my gosh. No, last thing before we wrap up, I love that you brought up addiction, because that was kind of a center of the episode, too, with kind of, like, Dex feeling addicted to not only the storyline with the case about the pills and the Adderall and whatnot, and how addicts kind of make other addicts, but also Dex is kind of addicted to her reckless lifestyle and how it can cause recklessness in other people's lives. So that was such a great way to end on the episode. So thank you for bringing that up, LaToya. I think there's so much to remember. We had to cover 2 episodes. We tried our best here on AfterBuzz TV, but we have to unfortunately wrap up our last after show of 2019.
So sad.
It's just been a pleasure hosting with you, LaToya. Thank you so much. You make the show so much brighter. And unfortunately, Shay wasn't here, but we held it down.
We did.
We held it down. You're amazing.
And we miss you, Shay.
We miss you, Shay. We'll see you next year. But where can we find you over the holiday break on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at LaToya.Blakely, on Twitter at Blakely.LaToya. And also, I will be a part of the panels for Servant, which is on Apple Plus, and Reprisal on Hulu, which is so good. They're both really good. So check out the shows and check out our after shows.
Ooh, Servant it's a creepy show, right?
It's a creepy show.
Someone was telling me about it.
It's good.
I need to check it out. And I'm going to watch the after show for sure, because I'm all about the horror creepiness. And I'm your host, Ollie Drennan. Follow me over the holiday break at Ollie Dreamer on Twitter and Instagram. Until then, we will see you in 2020. See you guys.
Happy holidays.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.